Just like me, it's shorter than most and thinner than most. But unlike me, the girls don't mind riding this through the hills as opposed to screaming, "Run to the hills!" Hey folks, we're back again with another video, and today we're working on a Rockshox SIDLUXE Select Plus with remote rear shock. So this is the A1 chassis version of the SIDLUXE, and we're going to be doing a full service, air can damper and dials. The dials are optional. I highly recommend not touching the dials or the shaft on the Eyelet unless you absolutely have to. Stick to the air can and the damper, and this will be a quick and easy job. This is a super popular shock. It absolutely loves to be serviced, especially the air can, so stay on top of your air can services and it'll do you just fine. So with that being said, let's get into the tools and parts needed for this job. As always, the most important tool on the table, right there, safety glasses. This is a shock, it has oil, it has pressures. Wear your safety glasses. So tools in order of use, if you lay them out like this, it should make your life a little bit easier. Pen, pencil, paper to write down your settings. High pressure shock pump. We need a high pressure shock pump to fill it up in order to get your settings and fill it up. Then we're going to take the shock, we're going to put it in a flat jaw. We're going to first remove the air can. You might not need a strap wrench. You might need a strap wrench. You'll find out. Then we're going to go to the IFP. We're going to remove the Schrader cap. You're going to need a Schrader removable tool. Then we're going to take the shock. We're going to vertically mount it in the soft jaw. 2.5mm Allen to remove the bleed screw, and then a 19mm wrench, Nipex, adjustable wrench, whatever you got, in order to remove the damper body. But you're going to need a 19mm crowfoot in order to torque it back down later. Then we're going to empty out the oil. You're going to need a little oil pan for the oil. We're going to work on the IFP. We're going to need air to remove the IFP, or you could use your adapter with the shock pump, so you don't need an air can technically. So then we're going to set the IFP. Rockshox has a tool specific for the SIDLUXE. I'm not a big fan of these tools. They're Rockshox IFP tools basically, so you don't need to use this. You could use a caliper. We'll get into that later. So then we're going to work on the damper piston. We're going to need a 5mm Allen to remove a cap, the valve cap, 18mm wrench to help you remove it, but a thin wrench, a cone wrench, right? You can't make it too thick, so there's just not enough space for a regular thick wrench. So if you have a thin Nipex or adjustable wrench, that will work. But later, to torque it down, there is enough meat to torque it down basically, right? So an 18mm crowfoot to torque it down. As far as the air can piston, there is a Delrin ball in there, a 1.5mm Allen or a 1.5mm punch will work with a hammer, punch it out, right? So then we're gonna fill it up with oil. We need to put it into a soft jaw. So a 23.8mm hole is what's needed. This is specific for a SIDLUXE, but you don't need to buy something specific for SIDLUXE. If you find something close to 23.8mm, just make sure you tighten it around the IFP on the body. So after we fill it up with oil, close it back up, bleed it. We need to fill up the IFP chamber. Again, this is a Rockshox specific tool for the SIDLUXE. 00.4318.042.000. Buy this or its equivalent. Many people make them now. So then torque wrench we're going to need to torque everything down. Picks will come in handy. Now, if you want to work on the remote, and this is totally optional, you do not have to work on the Eyelet remote or the shaft if you don't need to. If you do, you're going to need a 10mm soft jaw hole. We're going to need a 1mm, 2mm, and 2.5mm Allen, and we are going to need Loctite blue. Alcohol, paper towel, and that's pretty much it, folks. Let's go into the parts needed for the job. As always, we're going to need a seal kit for this job. Part number 00.4318.037.012. Now, this kit is for both the A1 and the A2 chassis. So, same part number for both chassis. Now, the kit should come with everything, but I do not see the pillow pack of oil in here for the air can. It should have came with it, so there should have been a pillow pack with 15W50 oil in there. We'll go over the quantity later. And if you want, you could use Maxima Plush Dynamic Light oil for the air can, either or, right? So for the damper body, we're gonna need 7-weight oil, and I'm gonna be using SRAM butter, even though the kit does come with dynamic seal grease. I just like SRAM butter better personally, right? If you stay on top of your services, this will do you just fine. Well, let's start working on this shock. Before we work on a shock, make sure to clean it best you can. Get all the dirt out from all the little spots, right? We do not want dirt falling into this thing in any single which way or form when we put it back together later. First, we need to write down our settings. We'll start off our rebound. Our rebound is on the inside over here, 2.5mm Allen. stick it inside the remote, and turn counterclockwise and count. 1, 2, 3, 3. And do not force it. So we got 3 clicks. Then we need to write down our error. Oh, I got lucky there. Right? So just plug in your shock pump. And I'm at 107, which seems low to me. And then we're going to let the air out super slowly, right? Always super slow. Next, we remove the air can. So first, let's take off the sag ring, put it on the side. Now, we might be able to do it by hand. You might need a strap wrench. I'm going to find out. Oh boy, this one I might need a strap wrench. Nope, I got it. Wow, this one was pretty tight actually, but you might need a strap wrench, right? So not all the times could you take them out by hand. So let's start unscrewing it. Now, before we completely remove it, let's just be safe. Put a towel at the base over here at the eyelet, just in case there's pressure in there and it wants to pop off, right? Usually what I do is I put a little bit force upwards this way when I'm removing it. So just in case, again, there's extra pressure that I'm unaware of. Okay, just like that. Cool. And it is off. All right. That is our air can. What we can do right now is, I should say, just clean the heavy grease, because we're going to work on this later as part of part 2 of the 50-hour service. So this, wow, a lot of dirt in there, huh? A lot of dirt on the inside, actually. So this thing definitely needed a service, and that's what we're here for. Next, we're going to start part 1 of the disassembly. For the damper service, we're going to remove the plug on the Schrader valve for the IFP chamber. So you need a Schrader valve removal tool. I just wish Rockshox would, wow, did you hear that pressure coming out? That tells me that there was air leaking out. I don't know if you guys heard that pop, but that's really not a good thing. So let's take the, there we go, put it on the side. Then grab a paper towel and let's say a 3mm Allen or anything that helps you easily press the Schrader valve, slowly press it, and boom. Chamber is empty. Next, we remove the bleed screw, 2mm Allen. It's angled for us to make it easier. And this one was loose. This was not down good. So let's take it. Let's put it on the side for now. Then 19mm wrench, adjustable wrench, Nip-X, channel lock, whatever you like to unscrew it. But again, later, crow's foot to tighten it, right? So we're going to put it in there and we're going to turn it counterclockwise. It's going to be stiff. There we go. That wasn't all that stiff. Okay, should be able to do the rest by hand. And just lift it up. There we go. Okay. All right. Take the top half, put it on the side. Grab your little oil pan. Nasty. Yep. This has probably never been serviced, is my bet. So that's supposed to be much, much lighter. Does it have little black bits in it? Nope, this one, unlike one I just did a few weeks back, actually, there's nothing really in there, so we are good. As always, folks, when it comes to disposing oils, please do so properly. Don't put them down the sink, don't put them in a toilet, don't throw them in a garbage, don't pour it down a drain or a sewer, don't throw them outside, put them in a bottle clearly marked, danger, don't drink, give it to a local bike shop, give it to a local auto shop, and they will know exactly what to do with it, all right? Next, we're gonna remove the IFP. To do so, we need to remove the Schrader valve, so grab your Schrader valve tool, and take the Schrader valve, and unscrew it out. Now this one had a little bit of pressure inside the cap. Inspect the valve seal over here. This one looks good, so I don't see anything bad there, right? Now we have the IFP inside. Grab air can, or you could use the adapter, the shock pump adapter with the shock pump, and just insert the adapter in there and use the shock pump to push it out. But grab an air can, boom. So this is the side that goes in. And this is the side that sticks out like that. Okay, just future reference, we'll go over that later. So next, let's clean let me put this guy on the side. Grab some alcohol, spray it down, grab a paper towel. Oh yeah, that's right, it's a SIDLUXE. My fingers don't fit all that well in here, so let's put a lot of paper towel at the bottom. Grab one of your small fingers. If not, use a plastic pick, but if you use a lot of paper towel, you should be able to squeeze it in there just like that. Let's clean it. Okay, clean the outside. Also clean the Schrader valve hole. All right, just in case some dirt or debris collected in there. Okay, now let's inspect the outside. There are no scratches, nothing, no dents. Let's inspect the, what the, wow. Wow, two of them, holy cow. Okay, I don't know if you guys see that well, but right there, all the way here, there seems to be either wear or a, oh man, and there's a gouge over here. Holy cow. Wait a second. Yep, there's definitely wear on the Teflon here. That is not good, folks. That is not good at all. Wow, okay, so if you can see that, hopefully you can see that well. So obviously there's like, well, I need to take off my gloves to be sure, but that seems like a wear on both sides, right? One here, and then over here, there's this I could feel. So this is absolutely a gouge over there. So that is not good. That is not good at all. So the rest of it inside looks good. Okay. Decision time. What do you do, right? So in my opinion, this damper body needs to get replaced. Now, depending on where the scratches are, this gouge is not good at all. I don't know why this thing has a gouge like that. That is not good whatsoever. In fact, hold on. Try and feel that. So putting my nail on the scratches, these aren't gouges. This is just wear. This is the coating that's rubbed off. Okay, without a doubt. But this here, if you could see that, hopefully you can see that well. That I could feel with my fingernail. So that is, yep, that is definitely not good. Right there, my fingernail that gets stuck on it right there. So that's bad. Now the big question becomes, why did this happen? Well, I just stuck like that. So if we screw this in, first we got to put it in, right? Let's screw this in. Obviously, we're not going to be able to put it in all the way, but to give us an idea, see what it feels like. I'm going up and down. Screw it all the way down. And oh, I'm all the way down. I don't need that anymore. Right? So let's go in. So now I'm all the way up. I don't know, man. So ultimately, in my opinion, this damper body needs to be replaced, and I am going to replace it. But what I'm also thinking I'm going to need to replace, or I'm going to replace, only because it seems to me like there is wear. They also sell the piston. And if I look at this one, again, if you notice over here, I don't know how well you can see that, but that definitely has significant wear on that side. So that is good, but you know what? This metal thing feels rough. I wonder if that's causing the scratching right there. And those are opposite. I bet you that's what's causing the scratching. Or the wear. I don't know. I could be wrong. Not sure. But what I am going to do, I'm going to order a new damper body, and I am going to order a new piston and replace both of them just to be 100% sure. All right, folks, I guess I'll be back. And we're back with a new damper body. So this is the 50 millimeter, part number 11.4.118.081.009, but you have to make sure you get the right size body. Unfortunately, Rockshox sells them per size when they don't really need to do that. If they didn't do that, then you could use the same damper body for certain bands of sizes. For instance, in this case, I believe that would be equivalent to like the 47 to a 55. So in other words, you could change the travel height without having to change the damper body for different sizing, right? But you can't do that for every size. What I also ended up doing after further inspecting the piston is buying the piston kit, part number 11.4118.056.004. This one, I believe, yeah, this is for all SIDLUXEs. And again, looking deeper into the Teflon ring over here, you could really feel that there's areas that are really scratched up on it, right? So I'm just changing the whole thing. Why not? So basically, now we open up the pack. We take out the damper body. All right. We'll take out spacer. We don't need that. Let's put that on the side. I'm not going to need this for now. That's the sag ring. Okay, so looking at this thing, it does come with the cap. So let's unscrew the cap. Rockshox, make your cap heads a little bit taller so they could better fit in your own tools. It's not big of an ask, or it's not much of an ask, I should say. Just make this part a little bit taller so it gives us more meat, right? So, oh, the piston's inside, the IFP's inside this one. Okay, it comes with an IFP. Didn't think about that. So, totally forgot that the Schrader valve comes with it. Completely forgot it comes with an IFP. So, since this is all in one, right, let's take this out for now. What the? What's going on here? Okay. Why is this not coming out? Wow, that's like really in there. Well, my other option is, let's screw this back in. I don't know why the air can's not working right now. It's probably because the seal is so dry and there's too much friction for the air can. So let's do this. Grab shock pump with the this way adapter. Again, the SIDLUXE has its own adapter. Now we should be able to move it out. Huh. Okay, I gotta go fish that one out now. So that took care of it. Let me go find the IFP and I'll be back. I just spent a little over 25 minutes looking for this stupid IFP. Where it fell, if I tried to get it in that spot 1,000,000 times, it would never happen. It literally fell in between two branches that are crossed together on a plant next to me. So anyway, so we have an IFP. Now we have to take out the Schrader valve because we want to put in the IFP without the Schrader valve inside. Now, chances are you're not going to have to go through this. So this is the new stuff. This is the old stuff, right? In your case, what you would do is in the kit, the seal kit, you're going to find an IFP SIDLUXE, right? So you are going to need this IFP, and then you're going to need this O-ring if you want. You don't really have to, but this O-ring is for the IFP Schrader valve cap, okay? So, and they also give you a new cap as well. So since all of mine are brand new, everything comes with the new damper body, I am not going to do this. So I'm going to take this stuff, well, this is pretty much garbage, but the rest I'm going to keep and I'm going to put them on the side. I just won't use this. So remember, you're going to change your IFP. Although what we will do over here is, let's get everything ready. Take out the new O-ring from the new IFP. Okay, I don't have to clean anything, it's all clean. Now what I'm going to do is put grease in the seat. Okay, put a little bit of grease on the O-ring. And put it all back in, and we are good. Now I'm going to take some grease, right? Put it on your finger. Not too much grease, just a bit. Ooh, put on a thinner finger. Finger that fits on the inside. Don't jam your finger in there. And just coat the inside with grease. Now we are going to take our IFP. This side goes in. This side sticks out. All right, so let's start it just like that. Now we got to set it. We need to know the length of our shock in order to make sure we set the IFP to the proper depth. So if you look at that chart over there, you will see this is a 50 millimeter SIDLUXE. So I need to set the IFP 61 millimeters deep. So again, yours is dependent on the size of your, the length or the depth of your damper body, okay? Now to set the IFP, Rockshox sells a tool. You don't need to buy this tool, okay? I mean, it's really, I'm not a big fan of these Rockshox tools for setting IFPs because it's very easy to overshoot. Sometimes it sticks in there and before you know it, you got to go through the whole process of removing it, right? So you can use a caliper, right, to do the same job. If you have a caliper, I've already preset this one to 61 so you could sink it in and done. Or my Fox tool, which I like a lot more, works the best over here. Why? Because I could set it perfectly at 61 millimeters like I've already done, right? The top and the bottom are touching. And then I can't overshoot because I have this base. So I just make sure I'm sitting in the middle and boom, done. No way to overshoot it. Whereas with this one over here, it does not take much to overshoot it by 1, 2, 5 millimeters, sometimes more than you would think it would, right? So then we're going to take, in my case, the new Schrader valve. You're going to take your Schrader valve and don't over tighten it. Make sure it's nice and snug, right? Nice and finger snug. Do not over tighten this thing. There's no need to do it. And that is it. Our damper body is done. We're going to put it on the side. Next, we're going to work on the piston assembly. Next, we're going to remove our damper piston. So for that, we're going to need a 5 millimeter Allen and an 18 millimeters cone wrench or anything that's thin enough to grip onto the nut over here, okay? So first, let's grip onto the nut with the cone wrench in this case, and then put your 5 millimeter Allen on the top cap, which should be very easy to remove, very low torque on that. Okay, let's remove that one first. Now underneath, whoop, okay, there's a seal on the inside. We are going to replace that. Sometimes it sticks here, sometimes it sticks there. Let's just put it on the side. Grab the 18 millimeter. Loosen the whole piston assembly, hold it underneath. Once this thing loosens completely, and let's go, we're going to lift up the whole thing from the bottom, okay? One shot just like that. Now we're going to work on this later. There's actually not much to do outside of changing this little seal over here, but I am going to change a few components over there, as I mentioned before. Take out our air can piston. We're going to take out our bumper washer. Finger my nails underneath it. Bumper washer. Our travel limiter. Okay, so obviously it's going to be stubborn. Let's try and get underneath it. Oop. Come on. Come on. Okay, let's try a different. Let's try this smaller pick over here. It's a little bit stronger. Come on. Come on. Let's try getting this flat pick under here. Come on. There we go. Geez, man. Put that on the side. Now we have a token in here. So actually before we remove the token, there is a seal on the side. Let's remove that seal. right there. Put that on the side. Okay, now you don't have to remove the token, but let's say you want to remove the token, right? 18 millimeter wrench, go in there, loosen the nut. All right, take that nut aside, and then grab this one, might make it easier, and there's our token. Put the token on the side. All right, so now we have two options. One, unless you have a reason to work on the dials or the shaft, do not touch it. What you're gonna do is skip to the next section, which is, well, doing whatever little service is needed over here and putting it all back together, okay? But if you have issues with your remote dial, well, we're gonna go into completely servicing the whole eyelet over here, okay? But do not attempt this if you do not need to. Just skip to that section. You're just gonna make your life a lot easier. To work on the eyelet, first we're gonna separate the shaft from the eyelet. Now, technically, you don't have to really do this in order to work on the dials, right? But since we're taking it all apart in this case, we're gonna go inside and grease the O-ring that's in the rebound shaft on the inside. So you're gonna need a 10 millimeter soft jaw. Make sure your tamper's free of grease. And just tighten it lightly, and this should be able to do with your hand. There we go. Or you could use a 13 millimeter, or if you have a trunnion, you get a trunnion mount or a trunnion tool basically, or you could use an eyelet tool, right? But the reality is this is pretty easy to remove. Okay. Now, inside here we have our, okay, it's going to be stubborn. Let's grab there. Just be careful over here. Don't scratch it. Just a little bit of a nudge to pull it out. That is our rebound shaft. Now, one thing to note with Rockshox, and this is a bit of a pain in the butt. If you ask me, this is a questionable design. I understand why they did it, but I really don't think it's a good design personally. So if you have a Rockshox shock, right, inline shock in particular, and you find that your rebound is very soft or not really working at all, chances are very high that the issue is this right here. So this space determines whether the rebound shaft will fully block the ports or not when it's coming down. So if this is pushed in too deep, your rebound is not going to work. If it might work a little bit or it won't work at all. So if you find you have rebound issues and everything else with the shock is working great, this is absolutely your issue. You are going to have to remove this a little bit back out or back this back out, which is a bit of a challenge. At least with their Select shocks, you could just tap the rod in the middle and it'll push it out. But when you have a Select or Select Plus or an Ultimate, you have a lifting plate. So you can sort of try and leverage something to go in there, or from the outside over here, tap out, like hold on to it with something and sort of move it out a little bit in order to reset it to the correct depth within the eyelet. Okay, I might go into a little bit more explanation later, but ultimately if you are having rebound issues and your shock otherwise is everything seems to be working great, it's properly bled, blah, 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 chances are that's your issue, okay, right there. So what we're gonna do for now is we're gonna take this and we're gonna put it on the side. And next we are going to work on the eyelet. To work on the dials, we're gonna need multiple Allen keys. 1, 2, 2.5, even a 3, I believe. So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off the cable guide over here, right? So this is gonna be a 2.5 millimeter Allen. And let's take out this screw first. Now when we take out the second screw, this whole mechanism is gonna lift and the remote's gonna wanna unwind, okay? So, because it's this flat part here that's holding the remote in place. Okay, so let's take that, and again, it's gonna unwind counterclockwise. There we go. Now, when we unwind it, you'll have access to a 1.5 millimeter Allen, and that is the remote knob holding onto the axle. Just loosen it, you don't have to fully remove it. I guess I'm gonna have to loosen a little bit more. There we go. Okay, let's take that, put it on the side. Now on the back over here, we have another 1.5 millimeter set screw. Unscrew that, take it out, put it on the side. Now, the whole compression knob will slide. Well, there's the whole cam, okay, or compression knob cam. So let's take that, let's put it on the side for now, just like that. So then we also have over here a little plastic bushing. Let's take a 1.5 millimeter, remove the bushing. So that is our compression. And now we have our rebound. So first we are going to grab a 2 millimeter, I believe. Let's see. Yes, 2 millimeter. We're going to grab a 2 millimeter. This should be our detent ball and spring. Yep. There's our spring and our ball still inside. There's our ball. Do not lose your ball. And then over here should be the set screw that holds the rebound knob or dial in place. And then we should be able to just take this and pull out our rebound knob. Now we have one more thing we can do. What did I do with it? The bottom over here, be very careful, but there is a seal. Let's take it out so we can clean everything inside and re-grease this seal. And that is everything. Okay, so now let's go in here and clean it all. And well, then we start assembly. To clean it, let me put this aside for now. Start off with the eyelet. Let's grab paper towel. Oh. Let's go in here first. Let's clean the inside where that seal sits. All right, make sure we clean that well, get all the old grease out. Okay, now let's clean the inside where the dials or the axles and the cams sit. Get all the old grease out in here. It's looking pretty good. Let's go to this side. Where are you? Nope. There we go. Stick this in there. Now let's grab, let me see if I can do it with this. Actually, even better. I'm not even bothering with that. Let's go in here. Let's clean all that out. Nice and clean. Yep. Now let's do the rebound. It's going to be a little bit more of a challenge because that is a much smaller hole. Let's see if we can use this 1 millimeter in here. Yep, that'll work out just fine. Just go round and round. Clean all the old grease and any dirt that might have gotten in there. It's looking pretty clean. This one was all clean and working well, really. Now let's go in here one more time. Just try and stuff it again with this guy. Okay. And our eyelet is clean. Put that on the side. Now, let's just be very careful. They do not give us replacements for this, which is dumb. Honest to God, Rockshox, why? Just give us a replacement for this one and this one. I mean, you already fill the kit with a bunch of stuff that aren't going to be needed. You know, it's funny, they don't give us a replacement for this seal and this seal, but this kit technically has full kits for the A1 and the A2, but only one IFP. That means that you're always going to be left over with a full kit. So, again, sell it with one kit only and add these two O-rings in there so we can do full service. Now let's clean. Oh, I don't need that. Clean our rebound. Make sure our detent ball is clean. We need to make sure our cam is clean. Just clean this guy. Clean our spring. Just make sure there's no dirt. Actually, this whole setup is really clean on the inside. Again, you don't need to do this unless you have issues. Okay, clean our ball. Now, I believe they give us a replacement bushing. No, they don't give us replacement bushing, so make sure this bushing don't crack or do damage to this bushing. Let's go inside, let's clean that. Now, clean our compression cam. Keep it in order. Let's clean our spring. Actually, we're also going to inspect the spring because these things do deform over time. Let's clean all that grease out of there. Let's inspect it, and right off the bat, is it my imagination? Yep, this one's not fully round over here. So there's definitely a bit of deformation, but the reality is it was working real good. So sometimes these things will get really worn out and they won't spring as good and you'll have to replace the spring. But this one over here, we're okay with it. Now let's clean the back end, the plug. Get all the old grease off of that. Make sure everything sits well. Okay, this set screw. Make sure our dial is seated in the dial. Let's clean that in there since that's what sits on the axle. That hole with that little, that's not a full circle. Make sure that's clean inside only because, again, the axle sits in there. That's our guide to make sure it's properly positioned when we install it. Good enough. This thing should be more than good enough. Just clean the underneath so we get a good seat. Since we're here, make sure the top is clean. And that's it. Now we put it back together. Put it back together, well, it's going to be the reverse of how we took it apart, right? So make sure you have grease, like regular waterproof thick grease, not SRAM butter or slick oleum, not any of that stuff. It's got to be a thick grease, okay? So first we're going to start off with our rebound. Now for our rebound, what I'm going to do is take a little bit of grease, put it on the detent teeth over here, and just like that. All right, and we're going to take it now. We do not want this part over here pointing towards the screw, the set screw, okay? It needs to be the open part because the set screw has to sit inside. So again, let's just take it this way. Put that part in, and well, let's start with our set screw. Clean this. Yeah, I believe I should have that 2mm on here. Yep. Okay, so again, this is our set screw. It goes into this second hole. So this is the first hole on the outside, the second hole towards the inside. Screw it down. Okay, so let's test it. See, I screwed it too much. It's not going to move, right? So now what we're going to do is back it out about a quarter turn or an eighth of a turn, and boom, now it's moving perfectly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of grease. We're going to put it, oh, that's too much grease. We're going to put it on the ball. Let's take the ball, let's stick it in the hole next to it. Then we're going to take grease again. We're going to put it on the spring to protect it from corrosion. We're going to put that in the hole. Then we are going to take, again, with our 2mm, our screw. We're going to screw that one down until it's flush. There we go. Now again, let's take our 2mm or 2.5mm. The 2 or 2.5, I forget. I always mix them up. 2.5. And we hear our clicks. Our rebound is done. So we're going to put this last Now, for the compression, first, we are going to grease our spring real well, again, to protect it. Good amount of grease on it. Okay. Then let's put some grease on the base over here. Now, on the plug, there is a hole, and the spring needs to go in that hole. Okay, so you have two of these parts of the spring that stick out. I can't even think of a name for it right now. So take the longer one, put it towards the hole in the back. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, oh yeah, before we do that, let's put a little bit of grease on this side. Now what we're going to do is we are going to put the other part, the other pin, onto this hole here, and then the middle goes in the middle over here, right? So let's just align it just like that, and then just play with it a bit. Something I'm very used to. And come on. Apparently I'm not all that used to it. I need a little bit more practice. There we go. Okay, so now it's all inside. Now what we can do is just put a little bit more grease around the cam. Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen like that, but let's take more grease, put it on the cam. Okay, now what we're going to do is hold it down, slide this in. Now before I put it all the way in, on the plug, oop, it popped out. Make sure it doesn't pop out. Make sure this goes in. Make sure this doesn't pop out. Mine is, yeah. Okay, find the hole. There's the hole right there. Perfect. Now, the plug has a hole for the set screw. Make sure it aligns on top, just like that. Now, clean my hands since they're sticky. Grab our 1.5 millimeter Allen with the set screw, and screw it in until it's nice and snug. Don't over tighten it. Then we have our bushing. Okay, what we're going to do for the bushing is we're going to grease the outside of it right over here, just like that. Now the bushing has a flat side. Okay, so it's round but has a flat side. Flat side goes on the bottom. All right, so just like this, and boom. Now what we're going to do is clean any excess grease since we have the opportunity. Make sure the flat side's on the bottom. Okay. Again, clean any excess grease. Now what we're going to do, make sure the flat side stays on the bottom. Use anything to move it around. There we go. Now, on the back again, we have the mount, right? It's got the flat side. The flat side is going to fit perfectly onto the axle. There we go. Let's grab our 1 millimeter. Tighten this back down. Don't over tighten it. Nice and snug. Okay. Last but not least, grab our, nope, we're going to need the 2.5. We don't need the 3 millimeter. I thought we needed a 3 millimeter for some reason. Okay, we're gonna grab the 2.5. Let's prep our screw, and basically we're gonna put it on the hole away from the cable guide. Okay, so you're gonna put the screw in the hole where this mount is over here, or this plate. Okay, just leave it like that. So what we're gonna do is turn the knob clockwise 360 degrees. Okay. So we're going to go one, just like that, until this part is, the flat part is on top. And we're going to hold it there, just like that. Now, we're going to take that screw and put in that second hole, just like that. Screw it down. Okay, make sure it's nice and snug. And boom. Let's put the second one in. since we are secure. Nice and snug. Let's clean any excess grease so we don't attract dirt. And there we go. That is our remote working. Last but not least, let's grab a little bit of grease. Let's put it on the ring over here. Let's stuff this in the O-ring. Let's stuff it in, and it's going to go into the seat at the base. Actually, oh, you know what? I wish I had my plastic pick. It's about 3 feet from me, and I'm too lazy to go get it. Okay, tuck this side in. Ooh. And the camera overheated as I was tucking it in, so here we are still, just tucking that little piece, and boom, we are done. Now let's clean the threads, because we are going to have to put Loctite later, and we want a nice solid connection. Our eyelet is done. Now let's put the shafts back in. Before we put the shafts in, we could clean the inside, right? So let's take a bit of paper towel. Spin it up nice and tight so we can fit it in. And just try and drag it as far down as you can. Fine screen, yes. All right, that's one side. Oops, already clean it off early, but since we're doing it, let's go all the way. Or what you can do is see if you could tuck in a ball, which obviously I couldn't. Let's try and do it this side. So it goes all the way down. Stuff it in with something plastic or wooden like this. Spin it around. See if you can pull it off the other side. And nice and clean. Now for this over here, let's clean the outside. Now be very careful if you're going to take off this O-ring, because again, they do not give us a replacement. Let's just squeeze and lift it. Yeah. Very, very careful with it. I don't even think it's worth it, to be honest, but since mine's frame, yes. Huh. There we go. All right. So O-ring. Let's clean the seat. Not going to bother cleaning the inside of that thing, although we can. Nope, that won't even fit in there. So what we're going to do is take a little bit of grease, put it on the seat. Slip the seal back on. Gotta change my glove. And sink it down into a seat. Put a little bit of grease in there. And we are going to tuck it in, just sink the seal in. We will take care of the rest when we install it. Before we install it, we need to do two things. One, let's clean the threads. Okay, and then two, grab your 2.5 millimeter, right? 2.5 millimeter. I keep on forgetting, 2.5 millimeter. Take your rebound, put it into all the way to the locked position, counterclockwise, right? So clockwise. Fully counterclockwise is open, fully clockwise is closed. We want this in the closed position. This goes for all Rockshox shafts when you're inserting them, because we do not want to shrink that space that I showed you earlier, all right? So what we're going to do is take some Loctite, put on the threads, way around. Oops, a little bit too much. Let's wipe off some of that. Make sure it's only on the threads. Now we're going to take it, we're going to sink it in, and Screw it in by hand first as much as you can. Okay. We're going to put it back in our 10 millimeter. And then I'm going to do it this way. It will be easier probably. Grab your torque wrench with either your 13 millimeter wrench or whatever you're using to torque it. I'm using an Eyelet tool. 4.5 Newton meters, 90-degree angle. Make sure you're at 4.5 Newton meters. We do not want to overshoot this. 4.62 is good enough, well within spec. And the Loctite will take care of the rest. Our eyelet is completely done. So now we start working on the rest of it and putting it back together. So if you look to the right of me, I open up the seal kit, put everything in order. Now this is the A1 seal kit. In the same SIDLUXE seal kit, you get kits for the A1 and the A2 in separate packages, but you only get one IFP. That means you're always gonna be left over with a full seal kit. Why they did that, well beyond me. So just make sure, line them up in by size so it's easier to find and the parts, and make sure you do not lose this white Delrin ball. We're gonna need that for the bleed hole later. So if you remember last, we had, before we put in the shaft, we had turned the rebound knob to the fully locked position. We're gonna take our 2.5 millimeter, we're gonna turn it to the fully open counterclockwise position, but it will not move the shaft on its own. It needs pressure to do that. That happens later when we bleed and fill up the IFP chamber. So we are going to force it with a little, Allen key and just press down just like that. Okay. And it's in a fully open position. And now we could put it back on the vise. So first thing we're going to do, let's change our eyelet seal. Since we have easy access to it right now, the seat is right there somewhat in the middle. Make sure it's in the right seat. Okay, so do not put it in the wrong seat. Flip this up. And this could flop around. It has a tendency to want to flop around. And there we, I have one little edge over here left. There we go. Now our seal is in. Now let's grab our token. Where's volume token? Put that all the way in like that. Make sure it doesn't turn. Then we're going to grab the nut for it. Why they created this nut, I have no idea. So just make sure the nut part is on top. Screw it in by hand first. Always by hand first. Make sure you get the threads correctly in. There we go. And then we're going to grab our 18 millimeter. And then we're just going to screw it down with the wrench. Nice and snug. Just like that. Don't overdo it. Nice and snug. Then we're going to take our travel spacer. Put that in. We're going to take our bumper washer. They give us a new bumper in the kit. Might as well use it since we have it. There we go. Now, in our air can piston, or bearing assembly, whatever you want to call it, we have a seal on the inside. Grab a pick. We have two seals technically, one over here. Okay, put that on the side. And we have one in here. Okay, whoop. Just be careful with this one. Stubborn. And pop it out. The air can seals we are going to change later. I do that because I don't want to take a chance on damaging them during the process of all this. So I'd rather leave it to the end. So now, just try and clean as much as we can on the inside seat. Grab a pick. Rub around the seat area. Okay. Check the bushing on the inside, and that bushing is not scratched. That bushing, this is the bushing on the inside right there. Looks good. Okay, we have one more thing that we want to do now, and that is remove the bleed screw, or the bleed ball, okay? So to do that, the easiest way to do that is, let's move this out of the way. Let's put this, so this is angled, right? So it's a bit of an angle. So just make sure you clamp down on the flat sides here. Going on this side. And then you could use a 1.5 millimeter Allen, or if you have a little 1.5 millimeter punch, you just basically tap it. And there we go. There is the old ball. Do not reuse this. That goes to the garbage. So let's leave that there. Let's put this back in. Now, let's replace our seals. That has to be that one there. And this one is definitely this one here. Out with the old, in with the new. Let's start with the inside. First thing I'm going to do, grab grease. I like filling up the seat with grease before putting in the seal. Okay. Let's take that grease, put it on the seal. It's a pretty stiff seal, so we're going to squish it, sink it in one side. Then we're going to grab our pick, force it in the seat on one side, just like, oh, there we go. Now plug the bottom, force as much as you can with like a fingernail, and then pop. Just watch out for the bushing, be careful over here. Hopefully you can see that well, and boom, easy peasy. Grab the rest of the grease, seal here, and fit it at the bottom. Make sure it's sitting in its seat. Yep, let's clean some of that excess grease because there's a lot of grease on this thing. Doesn't really need to be there. Okay, now we're going to take it and just gently squish it in just like that. Piston is in. Let's clean any excess grease from the top over here. Okay, any dirt. Now, also clean the threads on the inside. All right, so 2 seals left. This little one and this one over here, okay? So first let's take care of this one over here. Let's just pop it out of its seat. This is its replacement. Okay, we'll leave that one there. Now for this little one, what you're gonna do, now one thing that I didn't mention before, actually, now that I think about it, there is a bearing at the end over here, and this thing can fall out, okay? Make sure it doesn't fall out, be careful with it. So what we're gonna do over here is, it's gonna be a little bit tricky. Probably gonna need a thinner pick for that. Do I have a thinner pick around here? Ah, I gotta go into the toolbox. Let's see if I can do it with this. So try and squeeze this together. Okay, and see if you can get under it. Just like that. All right, we got it. Nope, we don't have it. Yes, we do have it. No, we don't have it. This is a little bit tricky. It's a real tight space. Let's see if we can do it like this. There we go. Okay. All right. So let's take that, put it on the side. Grab the replacement over here. Don't mix them up. Put a little bit of grease on the replacement. Be careful, again, there is a bearing at the end, and we're just going to take this and we are going to put it over and slide it into its seat. Just like that. And that is pretty much it. This one will go in here. Now, as I mentioned before, I did buy a replacement kit, so I am going to take all this apart. You don't have to do this. What you can do is just inspect your shims while it's on the lifting plate or lifting rod over here, right? Make sure that everything's good, none of them are cracked, and there's no, like, you know, oddities to them. And then put them back in like I will put them later, right? So I'm going to do this little section. This is only if you're basically going to replace the piston over here. I just want to mention again, you do not have to do this unless you're changing a component over here. You can literally just inspect your shims on this lifting rod over here, and when you're done, continue on when we start assembling everything, right? So I'm going to start taking everything apart, starting with this end over here. So now there's a bunch of shims. So this bottom part is the base. It goes down. And then we're going to start taking out our compression shims. So we got 1, 2. We have a whole bunch of spacers over here. Right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 spacers. And then these are our lockouts. In fact, now that I think about it, this is a 430 lockout. These are going to be the same, I bet. 1, 2, 3. Yep. So this over here is a 430 lockout. This over here is our compression shims. This is a L1 compression on this shock, right? So then we have our piston. On the bottom, we have shims. Make sure you remove the shims. So this is the compression side. This is the rebound side. Compression side we will put down. Now we're going to remove our rebound shims. So we have a light rebound on this shock, stock from the manufacturer. Right, so is that 1? Yes, that is 1. There should be a whole bunch here. I would say 4, maybe 6 total, somewhere in there. Okay, always double check and make sure. Again, shims stick like magnets sometimes. So we have another one here. We have a whole bunch over here. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4 more. 6. Yep. Okay. So we have 6, 2, 3, and then we have our lockout. I mean our check shim. Well, actually, technically, these two should be the rebound check shims. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is our rebound. So now, what I want to change is this thing over here. In order to do that, there is a clip in there, right? And we need to remove it in order to be able to remove this lifting rod. Grab a pick. Flat pick should help. Try and grab both sides from evenly. And get underneath. There we go. So I should be able to pull this out. Now, I could probably leave that in there because I'm pretty sure I'm going to get everything in the brand new kit anyway. So this is the entire assembly. And oh, I forgot to mention, there is a ball underneath, right? This ball can come out, so be careful. Make sure it's always in there. Do not lose this ball underneath. And that's pretty much it. So what I want to replace over here is this piston in particular. So out with the old, in with the new. I technically can replace this too. And ultimately, this is the one thing I want to replace because this one is pretty eaten up, right? So let me take off the top because I'm pretty sure we're going to have everything we need. We got that, and we get a new clip in here. So let's take out that new clip. We will use the new one. Let's put it here. Well, I'm going to try and put this in right now. So this is a little bit tricky. All right, what you want to do is make sure it sticks out. And then when it sticks out, take this clip, very small, hard to grab. Come on. Oh, great. Gloves won't let me grab it on the table. The fingernails aren't long enough. Okay, let's do it this way. Now let's drop it in here. Okay. Now again, let's position it. Just, oop, had it. Nope. Okay, that's better. Then let's get behind it. Oop. There we go. Now let's snap it in and done. We are snapped in. So now I could replace this whole thing. Might as well take the old ones, put them on the side. Well, actually that seals the new one. And we have the seal on the inside. And that is the whole kit. So now we are going to put it back together. What I'm going to do actually is, let's make sure everything's clean. Could you guys see that well? I need that a little bit. So I'm going to start with the rebound side, moving over to here. Okay, so this is a rebound check shim. Oh, you know what I didn't check? Oh, hold on. Good thing I see. You got to double check, folks. This thing already comes. I knew something looked weird here. This thing already comes with the new rebound check shims. So, like I said, these shims could be so deceiving, folks. They really do need some extra attention when you're dealing with them. All right, so, well, might as well use the new ones. So these are the old ones, 1, 2. Put these on the side. Okay, so our rebound check shims are light shim stack, rebound, lockout 430, and our L1 compression. So now we will start off. These are brand new. I don't got to clean them off. All right. Let's put these in first. And then we're going to put our rebound shims in. Okay. Now, the rebound side is recessed. The flat side is the compression side. So take the recessed side, put that in. Now, this is a relatively tricky set to put into this shaft over here. It all has to sit flat. I'm going to do this on the vise, okay? And you should too as well. It's just going to make your life easier. So I put the eyelet back in the vise. The reason I did it is when everything is piled on here and you try and insert this, it can actually be pretty tricky and deceiving getting these small ones to sit in here. You might think they're sitting in there, but they're not. And next thing you know, you won't have a full seal, right? So we're going to start with the compression side, flat side down, just like that. And we're going to grab, actually, might as well clean these too, just in case. I mean, they look pretty clean, but why not? Take that one. And we go with our spacer shims. Spacer shim. Okay. Finish up the lockout shims. Actually, this one was pretty dirty. Okay, so now all our compression shims are in. This is going to be, now, make sure that the ball is in there, and let's put a little bit of grease on the tip of it. Oops, not that much grease. All right, let's put a little bit of grease around this thing one more time. And then we're going to slip it in the whole thing, bring it down, make sure everything's sitting in there, and then we are going to probably should have mentioned that after. Now we're going to torque down this nut over here. Crow's foot, 4.5 Newton meter. The only thing is it might not fit well. Make sure your vise good. Right, you might have to put pressure on it because, again, this is a really thin nut. Oh, we're doing good. We got it. Oh, actually, make sure we're good. Tie it in there. Yep. Oh, nope. 5.07, a little bit hot, but not the end of the world. Okay, so we got our seal in there. Well, we changed, this one came with a brand new seal. You changed yours before, essentially, and make sure it's sitting inside in the seat. And then, it's amazing how easy, I just literally used this once and already it's marred. Okay, grab our torque wrench again. And this one over here is 2.8 Newton meters. There we go. Make sure it's sitting in. Very soft metal. And boom, 2.82. Done. We are ready to bleed. Before we bleed, let's make sure we're prepped. So we have the white ball. That's the bleed ball, right? Make sure you have that. We got the bleed screw on the 2 millimeter Allen. We got our torque wrench with our 19 millimeters crowfoot at 28 Newton meters. 7-weight oil. Now for a vise, you need a hole that's 23.8 millimeters, give or take, right? So this particular soft jaw is specifically made for a SIDLUXE, but you don't need that. If you have anything that's around 23.8 millimeters, it'll work. Just try and clamp the damper body around the IFP to keep it in place, and some paper towel and, well, oil pan just in case something spills, right? So first what we're going to do, we're going to take our 7-weight oil and we are going to fill it to the top, or fill it just a little bit. Okay. Wow, do you guys see that? Where's that air bubble coming from? Weird. Well, we definitely got air bubbles in here, so let's overfill a little bit more. That's odd. Okay. So, yeah, okay, cool. So, when we insert it, right, we do not want to push down from the eyelet. We want to push down from here. Now, the problem with this particular shock is this is a very tight fit, and this one's new, so it's going to be even tighter, right? This is a very tight fit inside that damper body, so it's going to be pretty a challenge trying to get it in there. We need to make sure that this is installed before we can start screwing this down, right? Now, you can give yourself a little bit of room over here, okay, before you put it in, but you don't want to give yourself too much room, right? So again, what we're going to do is put it in and sink this part, right, by pressing the shaft down. But, well, let me rephrase that. You don't want to press the eyelet past this, the air can piston, because, well, at that point you're going to displace too much oil, right? So you can try it like this first, see if it goes in, but it's going to be real difficult. If you give yourself a little bit of room over here so you can see if it goes in, right? Just be very careful. Put it down. Okay, I think I'm in. When it screws in, it should screw in seamlessly. If it doesn't, that means it's not fully in. Again, never press down on the eyelet, right? Nope, see, it starts, but I am not in. You might have to roll it in there. Again, you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room in order to see if it's in. Yep, so we are absolutely pretty close to in. Screw it backwards, see if we get that click going. And is that it? Yep, I got it. Yep, oil's coming out. More than enough time. Just let the air and the oil come out. Again, make sure you don't sink this in, right? And grab the wrench. Slowly go around. See the air coming out with the oil. Again, there's no rush over here. Let that air come up. Right? We got more than enough oil to displace. All right, so pretty much at the end. Grab our torque wrench. 28 Newton meters. .1. No air bubbles coming out. Take our bleed ball, put it in, let it sink. Grab our bleed screw. Now this should go in easy. Do not force in the bleed screw. Oh, look at that, right on the camera, great. Okay, don't over tighten it. Just give it a nice, like a good solid finger turn in, right? Don't give it a hand turn. Just a nice solid finger turn is all you need over here. You do not want to over crush it and make it really difficult to take it out later. And we are bled. The SIDLUXE has its own unique IFP adapter to fill up the IFP chamber. This blue one over here, it's a little bit thinner than your average. Now, I customized mine to make it a little bit easier for me. So in order to save seals, because you could easily pop seals when doing it the regular way, right? But I mean, you could just take a, you're going to need to buy an adapter and ultimately a high pressure shock pump, and you could just attach them together, fill it up, and then unscrew it the same way I'm going to do it, or the same fashion I'm going to do it. And it'll work out just fine. This setup is basically helps me make this more of a lossless adapter. So basically this pin over here presses down the pin on the inside, which is going to press the Schrader valve when I screw this in, essentially, right? So ultimately, start off the same way you would. The only thing is, I don't know if the seal on this one's any good. Okay, then I'm going to plug in the shock pump. You won't have this piece. Chances are you're just going to have this and this. Well, you can make this really easy. Screw it all the way down to make sure I don't have any leaks. And then we fill it up to 500 PSI. So you need a high pressure shock pump. I'm only doing air right now because, again, there's no problem with using air. Oh, barely there. Where am I? Barely there. All right. Could leave it there. I'm at 500 right now, actually. Cool. Now, in my case, you are going to turn it or remove it from here. In my case, I'm going to remove it from here. I could do it both ways. In fact, I'll show you. Is it leaking? Oh man, I really don't have a leak. Maybe a super slight leak. Oh, we're doing good, right? So what you're gonna do is basically hold on to the shock pump. Hold on to the adapter and turn the shock as fast as you can. And that's pretty much it. Any air that just came out from the actual pump. It did not come out from the shock, or the IFP chamber, I should say. All right. Well, next up, let's test it. And we're on the dyno. So first, let's just test out regular compression. And that is working good. We get really good response. Now let's do the lockout. Oof, not a fraction of a millimeter. And not only that, but it needs a lot of pressure. I'm still nothing. So that is working perfectly. Now let's try the rebound, 2 millimeter. Let's bring it all the way to the end. Molasses. And that's the light. Perfect. This shock is working, well, perfectly. Next up, let's finish up the 50-hour service. Before we finish up with the 50-hour service, let's make sure to put the cap back onto the IFP Schrader valve. Okay, so grab your Schrader valve tool, screw it in, don't over tighten it. Just make sure it sits flat because this tool, there we go. Perfect. So first we are going to start off with the air can, all right? We got the wipers. Now I opened up the air can service kit. So I have the air can seals over here and the air can, well, the air can piston seals over there, right? So first let's start off by taking off the wiper. That's the old wiper. Inside, we have a Teflon split ring. Okay. Split ring. Oh, and the quad ring came out together. Sweet. One less thing. Now we also have one more seal over here on the outside. Perfect. Throw these guys on the side. And now, let's grab alcohol, spray it in there, spray it outside. Now let's start cleaning. Clean those teeth. Go in there as deep as you can. Now over here, make sure to clean over here and in here. Okay. Lots of dirt. Now let's go into the seats for the quad ring. Okay, let's go into the seat for the wiper. Scrunch up a bunch of paper towel and just put it in there, stuff it in, and then just go around. And I'm going to do this again with white paper towel. Since it wasn't near me, should have grabbed it first to make sure it's all good. So again, put alcohol in here. This time you have white paper towel. Grab your nail, put it in the base thread, the bottom thread, and turn the air can until you've gone through all the threads. You really want to make sure your threads are clean on your air can, because sometimes these things won't want to screw in if there's debris in there. Good, that's great shape. Let's do this side one more time. That is looking good. Put in my seats. Seat's good. Put in the last seat. Squish it in there and spin it around. And good. Our air can is clean. Now, you can use dynamic grease. I'm a bigger fan of SRAM butter personally, right? So first, I'm going to take some SRAM butter, put it around the quad ring. Take the quad ring, we're going to put it in first. Now we need to make sure it does not twist when it goes in, right? So we need to double check it. And it is good. Now let's take our split ring, put a little bit of grease on it. This goes on top of the quad ring. And make sure that it lands like that, right? Make sure it doesn't somehow cross the other way. Okay. And, oop, nope, that's not good. Nope, wrong seat. I had it in the right seat, and then it popped out. So let's try that again. Push the quad ring down. Make sure there's room above it. And then slowly spin this in. And it should, oop, come on. Come on. There we go. It is in. Now let's clean the rest. Let's put in the wiper dry. We don't want to put grease where it attracts dirt. And the wiper's in. Now, a very thin coat, whatever's on your fingers. Just coat it. Put it at the base here. And our air can is done. Let's mount, oh, let's be careful here. Let's mount our shock. Here, we have two split rings, one larger one, one smaller one. Okay, larger one goes on top, smaller one, thinner one, thicker one goes on top, thinner one goes on the bottom. And then we have our quad ring. Let's clean everything here, make sure there's no debris in there. All right. So again, let's take some grease, put it on the quad ring. Put the quad ring in, make sure it does not twist. Spin it around, we are good. So first, let's put in our thin split ring. Again, make sure that the ends line like this, not like that. Don't overstretch it. Okay, there we have our new quad ring, our new thicker split ring. On this side, now this thing is not directional, it is squared off. Some other shocks like the Deluxe, it's rounded off, but this we don't have to worry about it. Put it in. That is good. Before we mount the air can or install the air can, so typically the service kit comes with a little pillow pack, and you're going to use half the pillow pack on the inside of the air can, the other half of the pillow pack on the top side of the air piston, right? My kit didn't come with a pillow pack, so I just put a little over 1.5 or about 1.5 milliliters or cc's of oil. I used the 10W or 15W50. You could use the Plush Maxima Plush Light as well if you want, right? So first I'm going to start off, I'm going to put half of this, well not half of it, but about half a cc I want to say, in the air can, or half a milliliter. And then, I wanted to put some of this first. Well, mix it together. These two do good together. All right. Okay. There we go, leave me about 5 cc's left, give or take. Okay. Now, be careful over here. Should slip right in. Tilt it down. Put the remainder of the oil on the inside. Spin it around. So it equally distributes. There we go. All right. Now, we're going to make sure our seal is sitting at the base. I just popped it off with my finger. Now, we need to bring it into a point where we equalize the air in order to make it easier to screw down. This could be a little bit stiff on this one, actually. I got cameras in the way. The whole rig is in the way. Can't get leverage. First of all, let me make sure that I have it tightly down. Okay. Oh boy. That is not going to be easy. Let's try it this way. All right. You can do it. Does not want to hit that. We have to hit that little port. Once we hit that port, the air will go from the negative to the positive. But this guy, it could be a challenge. Let me dry my hands. This whole rig is in the way, making my life more difficult. Oh, didn't want that to happen. Okay. Just dry the outside so I get better grip. Now, like I said, for you guys, it should be easier because you don't have to worry about this entire rig around you. Oop, nearly had it. Oh, easier with grip. There we go. Once you get it, now it's going to be easy. Just go back and forth there. You can literally feel the pressure alleviate. Screw it on. I do mine hand tight. Okay. Put our sag ring on. And that part is done. Now, this is somewhat optional. I'm going to change out the eyelet bushing because the top eyelet bushing over here is worn out big time, right? The bottom one looks like it's in great condition, but this one up here is worn out. I'm going to change out both of them, but I'm going to show one because, well, it's an identical process. So first thing I'm going to do, oops, didn't want to do that. Took out the wrong one. So this is actually Rockshox eyelet tool. Okay. And basically the way this works, this is a receiver and this is a pusher. So we're going to do is install the pusher. Okay, make sure it goes on the inside. There we go. Screw it all the way down. Then when you get to the end, 13 millimeter. Socket and ratchet or wrench or whatever you want. And basically, we're going to push it into the receiver. Nearly there. Feel it. And boom. Done. All right. Now let's clean the hole. Okay. That looks like it's in good shape in there. And then just grab a little bit of regular thick grease. Just a bit. Put it on the outside. Open this up a bit more. Then we're going to squeeze it in with the vise. Try and fit it in where it lays flat in there. Well, not flat, but, well, flat, I mean, as even as possible, but ultimately where it actually sits in there. And this one's not going to want to. Great. It's too split. Let's see if I can, there we go. I just squeezed it in a little bit crooked, but try that again. Come on. Okay. Be careful over here. There we go. All right. And make sure we are even. Done. Brand new bushing, clean out the grease, and repeat the same to the bottom if you have one. Next, we spray it down with alcohol, clean any excess grease or oils from the outside. Get all little small spots, especially around the remote over here. We do not want dirt collecting in here immediately. In fact, we don't want it collecting in there at all. And ta-da! And there you have it, folks. You just finished fully servicing a Rockshox SIDLUXE Select Plus with remote shock. Again, this is the A1 chassis of the SIDLUXE. Very easy job. You could absolutely do this. I always tell people with Rockshox, stay away from the dials or the eyelet and the shaft unless you absolutely need to service something in there. If you stick to the air can and the damper, this is a very fast, easy job. Once you get used to it, you can go through this like that. So, what's left now? Put the rebound back to where it was before, put the air pressure where it was before, make sure you put your air cap back on, and then you're going to put it on your bike and you're going to race the hell out of this thing, right? Now, just remember that after your first few rides, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 rides, make sure to clean any excess grease or oils that might come out of the damper. You do not want to make, or damper body, you don't want to make the wiper's job harder than it needs to be. So, folks, if you like this video, click that like button, click that subscribe button to see more videos, click that bell button, in order to get notified when new videos get released, and more videos like this are coming. If you want to check out a couple of videos right now, these two over there might be of interest. And until the next time, I hope all is well with all of you, and we will be talking to you soon. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.